بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear students, we've finished chapter 6, Pearl. I'd just like to remind you of what we dealt with in the previous chapter, Pearl. The title of the chapter dealt with the character of Pearl, and it has shown who Pearl is, how does she behave, her character from within some information about the Puritans and how they consider Pearl. And we've encountered, let's say, a detailed description of this character. Now we move to the next chapter, chapter 7. Chapter 7 is entitled The Governor's Hall. The governor is the person in charge of the city of Boston, who is supposed to rule everything, who is supposed to legislate and do many teachings that Boston people follow. So we've been introduced to this chapter for this event, actually, for certain reasons we will highlight within the explanation. I highlighted the main points only in order not to waste your time reading every word and spending lots of efforts in useless words. So you can pay attention, you can read the whole chapter and pay attention to the underlined or lines or the lines in bold letters. Hester Prynne went one day to the mansion of Governor Bellingham. As we said, this person is in charge of the whole city, so he has a huge house, a mansion, a palace. She went there under the pretext that she has sewn some gloves for the governor, and she wanted to give him as a gift. But this is there is a hidden reason behind her visit. So here is only a brief note about why Hester went to this person. Another and far more important reason, the hidden reason, that the delivery of a pair of embroidered gloves impelled Hester at this time to seek an interview. There is an interview sought behind this, behind presenting the gloves. According to the people of Boston, according to some let's say authorities, some people of religion, they decided that Pearl must be taken away from her mother, and she is supposed to be brought up according to the Puritan morals and guidance, because being brought up according to Hester, who is already a sinner, will not produce a good person. I mean Pearl. So they think that Pearl is better be removed from Hester and be submitted to some other Puritan family in order to give her a better education and a better life. So this is just a note. It had reached her ears. Hester heard that there was a design on the part of some of the leading inhabitants cherishing the more rigid order of principles and religion. Yani a very Puritan people, they hold Puritanism and they follow its strict rules. So they have decided to deprive Hester of her child, on the supposition, on the pretext, on the excuse that Pearl, as already hinted, was of demon origin. They think that Pearl has a demon origin because she doesn't have a father, so she is supposed to be removed from her mother. If the child, on the other hand, were really capable of moral and religious growth and possessed the elements of ultimate salvation, then surely it would enjoy all the fairer prospects of these advantages by being transferred to wiser and better guardianship than Hester Prynne. So this is the real reason why Hester went to Bellingham, in order to discuss this incident, what she heard. So She sets forth. She leaves wherever she goes. She takes Hester with Pearl with her. So Hester Prynne set forth from her solitary cottage. Little Pearl, of course, was her companion. She is accompanying her mother. She was now of an age to run lightly along by her mother's side. Now she can walk by which indicates her, let's say, being just like an adult or a little younger. So yani she's, let's say, 7 to 8 years old maybe. um, we have spoken of Pearl. Hawthorne says we have spoken of Pearl's rich and luxuriant beauty. Now he highlights the character of Pearl, and that shone with the deep and vivid tints, a bright complexion, eyes possessing intensity both of depth. We have already covered this description in the previous chapter, but the writer here tries to highlight this character one more time. There was fire in her, and throughout her she seemed the unpremeditated offshoot of a passionate moment. Her mother, in contriving the child's garb, had allowed the gorgeous tendencies of her imagination. So, this is related to the description of the physical description and how Hester helped in dressing Pearl with nice clothes. So, this is just like the outside description of Pearl. Hester Prynne was doomed to wear upon her bosom. It was the scarlet letter in another form. So here, an association is made between Pearl and the scarlet letter. So she looks just like a similar aspect, or there are shared common grounds between Pearl and the scarlet letter. As the two wayfarers, the two visitors, or the two travelers came within the precincts of the town, they came close to the suburbs of the town. The children of the Puritans looked up from their player and said something about attacking Hester and Pearl. This reflects how Puritans bring up their children. So here there is a kind of irony here, a contradiction. Like Puritans claim that, well, let's take Pearl and give her a better Puritan upbringing and treatment, while the writer, just one page later, describes how Puritans behave towards strangers. Here, Puritan children say, "Behold, verily, there is the woman of the scarlet letter and of a truth. Moreover, there is the likeness of the scarlet letter, the thing that is similar to the scarlet letter, which is Pearl, along by her side. Come therefore, and let us fling mud at them. Let's um, throw mud at them," which reflect this incident is important because it shows how Puritans bring up their children, or brought up their children. And of course, according to the writer, Pearl is not supposed to leave to a Puritan community and live with them, because she's going to be just like those people, attacking others and showing disrespect for strangers. So this also highlights the strength of the character of Pearl, because she stood there and she confronted them and shouted at them. Threatening gestures suddenly made a rush at the knot of her enemies and put them all to flight. They all ran away. She resembled in her fierce pursuit of them. She followed them, the infant of pestilence, the scarlet fever, or some such half flesh, etc. She screamed and shouted too with a terrific volume of sound, which doubtless caused the hearts of the fugitives to quake, yani تهتز, just like earthquake, within them. So that's why they ran away. So she chased them and defended herself and her mother. This expresses how strong is the character of Pearl from this incident. There was the freshness of the passing of the year, etc. here. So when the sunshine fell aslantwise over the front of the edifice, it glittered and sparkled as if diamonds had been flung against it by the double handful. The brilliancy might have been fitted alad. Here there is a description of the palace of the house of Bellingham. the writer shows it just like somehow some of the fairy tales of Aladdin, some imaginary house, because it is well decorated with a flashlight, with diamonds and pieces of glass which reflect the light of the sun. So it is very interesting from outside. And this also refers to the hypocrisy of the Puritan people, because people are starving, are not living a good life, and their leaders, like Bellingham, is living in a mansion or in a palace. So this reflects how those people are hypocrites. From Pearl, looking at this bright wonder of house, began to dance, because she is astonished by the description of the house, by how the house looked like. My little Pearl, said her mother. So when she saw the reflection of the sunshine, she started dancing and moving. And Hester told her, My little Pearl, said her mother, thou must gather thine own sunshine. I have none to give thee. A reference to Hester, who has lost her own purity, her own light. And Pearl must gather her own sunshine by not submitting to sins and offenses, just like her mother. A reference here to the servant, a servant who came from Old England and enslaved here, a freeborn Englishman. He is a freeborn. He is not born a slave, but the Puritan people have enslaved him. They made him a slave. So Puritans are not those kind of people who seek a freedom, or who call for equal rights and egalitarian principles. No, they are people who also own slaves. So during the time he was with the property of his master and as much commodity, just like a good bid'ah, of bargain and sale as an ox. This is a quite important description of how Puritans deal with those people, just like an ox. وكأنه ثور. The serving man here has was astonished by the way Hester was described.